Hey everybody, and welcome back to Couch Social Network. So in 2014, which was roughly around 8 years ago, uh, eight, I'm take that back, 9 years ago, eight and a half, 9 years ago, one out of five Black American women in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, happened to face eviction, more than double the rate of their white American female counterparts. And with that being said, the city's population of Black American female renters make up 9%, 9.6% to be exact, of the total female population that are renters and are a part of the Black race. However, 30% of them are comprised of them being evicted. 30% of the ratio of those that happen to be renters, as far as the Black American female race goes, that are renters in that city alone of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And to add to that, how is it that Black American women are supposed to be some of the most intelligent, educated, and successful groups of women in the whole U.S. behind their white American female counterparts and their Asian female counterparts? Because out of all three racial groups, Asian American women are at the top of the list of some of the most financially successful groups and races of women throughout the whole U.S. For all the ones that are immigrants here, all the Asian women, Asian American women, that is. Once again, how is it that if Black American women are supposed to be some of the most highly educated groups of women and racial groups throughout the whole U.S., how are they facing such alarming eviction and such a high eviction rates? Anyway, to further elaborate on this particular matter, I'm going to read a story to provide, once again, more elaboration and more proof on why. And I also, after I'm done providing more elaboration along with more proof, more clarification as well, I'm going to give some more of my feedback on this particular topic, both this particular topic and matter. So without further ado, here you go, guys. Okay, folks, so the article is titled "The Disproportionate Burden of Eviction on Black Women." Folks. The United States continues to face an eviction crisis that has been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, and that disproportionately affects communities of color, particularly Black women. So I'm not going to drag this video that much more further because this article is long to an extent, too long to finish reading. Therefore, I want to skip to to the main topic that much more. If you could bear with me. Okay, it proceeds by saying, after the termination of most pandemic-related rental supports, disparities in eviction filings and occurrences persist. Black women who face higher rates of job loss during the pandemic and experience one of the most severe wage gap in the United States are now more vulnerable to eviction and housing insecurity than they were prior to the pandemic. In fact, before, during, and after the pandemic, studies have found that Black women are disproportionately affected by eviction. Let's see. And it also explains how the following list of recommendations, while far from comprehensive, includes evidence-informed steps that policymakers, particularly those at the state level, can take to reduce the harmful consequences of eviction and slow eviction filing, especially for Black women. Invest in preventive eviction diversion programs. Guarantee the right to counsel for all tenants facing eviction, which I do agree on. Automate the sealing of eviction records and act just cause or good cause eviction legislation, and act source of income non-discrimination laws. This report discusses the disproportionate eviction of Black women and the harmful consequences of eviction on them. Provides an overview of eviction policies during the pandemic, as well as the current state of housing and economic vulnerability, and outcome-specific policies, programs, and legislation that states can and should implement to protect tenants, prevent eviction, and mitigate the lasting consequences of eviction for the populations most affected. It also proceeds by saying in bold print how Black American women that is, are at the greatest risk of eviction. While all renters in the United States can face the threat of eviction, Black women are disproportionately evicted. 1 in 5 renters behind on rent and likely to face eviction in the United States are Black women. A study conducted in 2014 found in Milwaukee, more than 1 in 5, Black female renters were evicted as adults, triple the rate for white women. This means that while Black women in Milwaukee account for 9.6% of the city's rental population, just like I stated at the very beginning of this video, they comprise 30% of evictions. A recent study by the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, that's the acronym for it, found that in at least 17 states, Black female renters were filed against for eviction at double the rate of white renters, which is no surprise at all, no surprise, or higher. The American Civil Liberties Union's analysis of 2012 through 2016 eviction data from Massachusetts indicates that Black women face the not highest, or might as well say both the highest and greatest risk of being evicted or having an eviction filed against them. Given that non-payment of rent is the leading cause of eviction, understanding the unjust economic disadvantages historically and currently faced by Black women in this country is integral to understanding the disproportionate occurrence of eviction. Rent-burdened households or individuals defined as those who spend more than 50% of their income on rent experience heightened risk of eviction due to their likelihood of falling behind on rent payments. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, more than half of Black and Latino renters were cost burdened, compared with 42% of Asian and white households. And during the first year of the pandemic, cost burdens rose fastest among renter households headed by a Black person, increasing 3.5% points for Black renters and only 3% points for white renters, who maintain the lowest cost burden rate of any racial group. This increasing cost burden among Black renters suggested growing financial instability and heightened risk of subsequent eviction and housing insecurity. Meanwhile, in 2019, more than half of Black married households were headed by Black women. In 2022, nearly half of Black youth live with their mothers in single-parent households, which is one of the main contributors to the number of single Black parent households being so disproportionately high as well, according to both data and statistics, folks. Anyway, for Black mothers, 68% of whom are the sole breadwinners of their households and 82% of who are the primary co-breadwinners, pandemic-related financial challenges have posed a significant threat to their ability to remain housed and support their families. Caregiving and breadwinning obligations, coupled with the greatest income and wealth disparities of most other demographic groups in the country, have made Black women particularly vulnerable to eviction. Furthermore, structural racism and systemic barriers such as unequal pay, high rates of pandemic-related job loss, and discriminatory social bias disproportionately affect Black women and greatly contribute to high cost burdens, housing insecurity, and eviction rates. So I'm going to end the article right there, folks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, after reading some portions of that article pertaining to the high eviction rate on behalf of Black American women being some of the most evicted groups of women throughout all other racial groups and demographics throughout the whole U.S. I also wanted to factor in how another reason, which no one hardly likes to talk about, which may seem like a taboo topic to some of you Black females who may follow my channel, the few of you who do, may have to have guys staying with you who may happen to have just been recently released from prison, making it that much more harder for you to have a provider to help you be able to maintain your households without becoming evicted or facing that much more of a higher chance of eviction, because it's a well-known fact. And although Black females have criminal records, but not to the extent that us Black males do. As a matter of fact, and if I'm not mistaken, us Black American males face the most highest incarceration rates throughout the whole U.S. If you don't believe me, you could read the statistics and studies that elaborate on it and clarify that much more of how we are some of the most incarcerated groups of males out of all other racial and ethnic groups in the whole US of A. Anyway, that makes it that much more harder for us to find employment, so we could be able to help you maintain either your apartments or your houses that you may usually get through some form of governmental assistance. And it also goes to show you how Black women believe in being so independent, because there are so many nowadays that want to be considered or classified as a strong, independent Black woman. And that makes it that much more where a lot of you, but by you taking on such a strong, independent, and in most cases manly role, wanting to, in other words, wanting to be not only the mother to your kids, but take the role as being the father as well. That makes it where you're facing that much more, or you are some of the most highest groups of women, one of the most highest nationalities and ethnic groups that face eviction, usually face such high rates of eviction that much more due to your sense of dependence, how you feel like you don't need a man, how you could, once again, how you could take on the roles of being both the mother and the father, but you can never take the place of being a man, no matter how masculine you may come across and how so-called independent you may come across. Once again, you also claim in the same breath to be some of the most highly educated groups of women compared to all other ethnic groups of women and nationalities on the planet, yet and still you face such high rates of eviction, which doesn't make any sense at all to me, because if you're so highly educated, so intelligent, so successful, so much more successful than all other racial and ethnic groups of women in the whole US, then you should be able to maintain your homes that you may be paying rent on, whether you may stay in either an apartment or a house. Anyway, I'm not going to keep on going that much more further on this topic, but before I end the video, I wanted you guys to make sure you first and foremost like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, so my video and my channel could be able to gain even that much more of an audience, more traffic, more exposure. Last but not least, subscribe to the channel. By the way, I wanted to thank all you people that are responsible for me to be able to finally gain over 601 subscribers, because I checked my analytics, my YouTube analytics on a regular basis, every day or almost every day. Once again, I thank you guys a whole lot for building up my subscription base and my fan base to the extent that I'm now at over 601 subscribers, which I was able to check earlier today. With that being said, I hope you guys have a very nice and blessed day.